What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the new 2021 Subaru Ascent. So the Subaru Ascent was recently introduced probably, 3 years ago? I think 2018 may have been the first model year. So again, you're not going to expect many changes since Subaru is on a 5-year kind of update cycle. So this being the third model year of the cycle, we'll get kind of a refresh of the exterior, a couple new interior features, which we'll take a look at, but this isn't going to be anything significant and over the top and really kind of eye-catching. It's going to be more kind of some subtle changes and then some under the hood stuff. So we'll take a look at what is new, kind of walk around this entire model. Now, this is the Touring trim, so top of the line trim, and I think they call this color cinnamon, which I think is accurate. And we've got the new black leather interior option on the inside with the gray or silver accent stitching, which we'll take a look at obviously when we get in there. But we'll just start kind of walk through everything and take a look at what we got. So starting up front, one of the things that is kind of a new introduction for 2021 is you have standard LED headlights with the steering responsive feature to them. All kind of accents, the daytime running lights, all that kind of stuff is LED. You do have LED fog lights as well, but those are only on the top 2 trim levels, so the Touring and the Limited. Everything else will just have regular fog lights. But that being standard with the LED headlights is new for this model year. Under the hood, you've got a 2.4 liter turbocharged boxer engine, 26 miles per gallon highway, 20 miles per gallon city, 260 horsepower, 277 pound-feet of torque. Now, the front fascia has kind of undergone a redesign. It's a little bit more square. You know, they do these really subtle refreshes on the front fascias, nothing too drastic. This Subaru badge, by the way, on the front of the Ascent is massive. I mean, this thing is huge. So nice, big, bold Subaru logo. You'll know it's a Subaru for sure. You've got your 180-degree front-facing camera. There's no 360-degree vision system, even though you do have cameras in the front and back. It's just a front-facing camera. But again, kind of aggressive stylings, nothing too over the top, and nothing that we're not used to seeing on Subarus. They all have a very aesthetically similar, kind of muted design language on the exterior of the vehicle specifically. Now, the Touring model we've got here sits on 20-inch aluminum alloy wheels. They kind of have a two-tone machine gray finish to them. They look really nice. They're very kind of muted. I think, you know, the kind of more aggressive and intricate look of the wheels that we see on like the Crosstrek, or even sometimes on like the Forester Sport, or even the new Outback, a little more, you know, dramatic in their stylings. These are a little bit more laid back, simple, but they still look really nice and have a little bit of, you know, two-tone action to them to make them a little bit more interesting than just your standard wheels that you'd get on a larger SUV like this. Moving on back to the side mirrors, since this is the Touring trim, you get this satin cap on the actual rear view mirrors themselves, integrated turn signal. You've got blind spot monitoring here on the Touring. You've got chrome door handles here, which I think kind of stands out. It's a kind of a nice contrast with the side mirrors. Typically when you have vehicles that have like a satin side mirror, they'll have a satin door handle, or a chrome side mirror will have a chrome door handle. This is kind of like a two-tone thing. So satin rear view mirror, chrome door handle here with your keyless access that you can put your finger on the button here to lock it, put your hand inside the actual handle itself to open it. So nothing crazy there. Kind of a chrome trim that runs around the windows, and you've got a nice accent piece on the bottom lip of the side of the vehicle as well. Up top, you've got black roof rails and a panoramic tilting and sliding sunroof. You know, nice, big, bold, beautiful sunroof. All right, so moving to the back of the vehicle, very standard Subaru back end. You've got kind of a two-way headlight here. So the brake light is LED, the rest of it is a halogen bulb. You got this nice silver piece that runs across, Subaru badge, rear wiper, brake light up top. Got parking sensors dotted around. You've got 2 exhaust tips. Those are actual exhaust tips, which is nice. You've got, you know, more brake lights down here, plastic cladding, very Subaru-esque. This nice kind of textured bar that runs across. It's a very flat back end. So a lot of the Subaru SUVs have a nice arced back end. You see it a lot on the Crosstrek and the Outback, but the Forester even kind of has a little bit of an arc to it. This is a very flat back end. So you don't have a lot of like extra, you know, jut for no reason. Up underneath, you've got your rear camera, button here to open it, auto lift gate. In the back here, you have decent storage space. You have about 17.8 cubic feet of storage space. Back here, up underneath the fabric part, there's a cargo shade and some additional storage space, which is a super nice feature to have. 12-volt outlet here, little light, room for the cargo net, all that kind of stuff. You can put the third row seats down. You get about 47 cubic feet of space. And then if you put all the seats down from tailgate to front seats, you get about 87 cubic feet of storage space. So pretty decent trunk space. And that is pretty much everything on the exterior. Let's go ahead and hop inside. All right, so inside the cabin here, very traditional Subaru cabin. Nothing you haven't seen before. I'll just put it that way. That doesn't make it bad necessarily. Does it make it a little bit uninteresting? Sure. But you know what you're gonna get when it comes to Subaru, and they do it well. So let's just go ahead and walk through what we've got going on here. So over on the door panels, you kind of have this pretty busy door and kind of interior design. So you've got, since this is the Touring, you've got this faux wood trim here, as well as this kind of leatherette in this ivory color, and then you've got perforated black leather here, and then you've got the black leather down here with the gray accent stitching like I mentioned earlier. So as we kind of work our way around, you'll see a similar kind of design as we go. So the same kind of ivory leatherette, hard, kind of this soft touch rubber up here, leather with the accent stitching, leather with accent stitching, leather with accent stitching, you get the idea. Steering wheel, again, leather with the gray accent stitching. It is heated here on the Touring. You've got your button controls over on the side for your, not only your seat memory, which you've got two-way memory seats here, but you also have, you know, your tailgate button, your dome light button, your memory height button, your traction control, your blind spot monitoring, all their kind of safety features you can disable or enable over here. One thing of note, there is no auto start-stop system here on the Ascent, which is a little bit interesting because you've got it on basically everything else, right? You've got it on the Outback, you've got it on the Forester, and I think we do have it on the Crosstrek now, if I'm remembering correctly, which I think, yeah, we do. So it's really interesting that they're kind of, it's not their, you know, headlining vehicle, that would be the Outback still, but in something that is kind of more of a fuel hog, like this bigger SUV, it's kind of interesting that you're not going to be kind of saving fuel while idling. But for people that really despise auto start-stop systems, you're in luck. The Ascent does not have it here in 2021. Wouldn't be surprised if we see it down the road, but not yet. So again, leather wrapped steering wheel, volume controls on the one side, adaptive cruise control on the right side, and then you have new for 2021, the lane centering button. We've seen this on the Crosstrek, seen it on the Outback, seen it on the Forester, and it's on the Legacy as well. So we've seen it across the board in newer Subaru models, and is finally here on the Ascent. So lane centering right there. Now the difference between lane centering and kind of lane keeping assist is that lane keeping assist is a passive kind of system to where once you actually physically drift into the lane, it'll bring you back. Lane centering is a active system. So it's intentionally all the time when it's active, keeping you in between those strong painted lines. So that's kind of the difference there. Now past the steering wheel, you've got just very traditional Subaru gauges, 2 analog gauges with a 4.2-inch color screen in the middle. That's going to give you all your kind of miles per gallon, adaptive cruise control systems, which gear you're in, you know, trip calculator, things like that. There's another 6-inch display up top. Now, this is going to give you all kinds of vehicle information. So your safety systems, you can access your 180-degree front-facing camera via this system here. And you can also switch between like weather and time and stations and navigation and things like that. It's nothing you haven't seen. There's no additions there. But there is one thing that is new in 2021, and it's up here by the view button and by your hazards, and that is this passenger airbag system alert. Now, we've seen this before. That's not the new part. It's what's to the left of that. And that shows you first, second, and third row little dots for each seat, so you know which of your rear seat passengers is not wearing their seatbelt by seat. So if you have one specific kid and you know that kid's sitting in the middle seat of the third row, you can know immediately whether that light is on or off if they have their seatbelt on. So that's super handy. We've seen this before. This isn't new necessarily for the segment. I made a video on the 2020 Hyundai Palisade, and that had a very similar system to this where you could see which of the rear seat passengers did not have their seatbelt on. So this isn't new at all by any means, but it is a super nice feature to have. The one downside, I swear they made the chime in this thing louder. It just goes off when you don't have your seatbelt on. And it used to kind of start quiet and build up. Now it's just like right in your face, like full volume to 11 kind of system. And now it'll do the same thing if one of your rear passengers doesn't have their seatbelt on too. So get ready for alerts out the butt. but it is for the safety of the passengers, so you really can't fault them for it. Moving up briefly, you do have this auto-dimming rear view mirror with a compass, universal home light garage door controls, and again, it has that rear view mirror camera as well, so if you flick this switch, it'll become the camera system. But you can adjust it using these buttons here if you want the brightness or the angle to be different, which is nice. Moving on down, you've got an 8-inch infotainment center here. Very typical Starlink system, phone, navigation here on the Touring. You got My Subaru, you know, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, rear view camera, Sirius XM radio, all that kind of stuff. Rear view camera has rear automatic braking, colored level markers, and you have that kind of adaptive turning system that lets you know which way you're going when you're in reverse. And you've got the parking sensors again that kind of show you how close you are to obstacles. If you're in neutral, you can actually see that 180-degree front-facing camera up top on the smaller display. I don't think there's a way to get it onto the 8-inch display, unfortunately, but it's just one of those things. Moving down from that, every single Ascent has tri-zone climate control, so specific for driver, passenger, and third row passengers as well. It can all be controlled here, all via hardware buttons, which I know people love. You also have ventilated seats for driver and passenger. They're heated as well, which the ventilated option is specific to the Touring. Moving down past that, you've got a 12-volt outlet on this little lip here, which you can fit a phone probably pretty comfortably. Yeah, you can. You've got your X mode button, auto vehicle hold button is right there. You've got your 3.5mm jack and 2 USB-A ports right here with these little flaps. And this whole center console has the satin and wood grain finish to it. Satin around the gear shift here as well. Electronic parking brake, and kind of these weird cup holders that kind of stick out kind of far. They have like this rubber lip, which I feel like was trying to help make like drinks be more sturdy, but I think it actually might create kind of a problem for cleaning because stuff's going to get trapped down there. And from what I can tell, oh, you can actually pull them out. Okay, so you can actually pull the entire system out. It has this plastic, this clear plastic on the bottom, which will allow the little blue LEDs to shine through that normally would reflect in this area so you can see what's in your cup holder. So it actually isn't as much of a cleaning problem as I originally thought because you can pull this entire system out and just go ahead and snap that back into place. Nice and easy right there. Center console here, nice big pocket for storage. You have this little tray you can put coins and stuff on this nice felt section as well. You've got a little lip here that you could also put like a phone or something. And then inside the glove box, you've got a nice velvet glove box for, you know, storing your manual and things like that. Now, as far as seating surfaces go, you've got 10-way power adjustable driver's seat with 2-way lumbar support and thigh support, which I'm just the biggest fan of. If you've ever watched one of my videos, you know I love thigh support. Passenger seat is a 4-way power adjustable. There are all these leather seats. Again, this has the new black leather option with the gray accent stitching. Looks really nice. Again, heated seats and ventilated seats in the front. In the second row captain's chairs as well, you've got a heated option and then nothing in the third row, unfortunately. You've got 2 USB-A ports and a 120-volt power outlet right in the back there, as well again as vents. And you can drop the little console down here and get some extra cup holders, even though you've got cup holders already in the door. So lots of good storage options in the back for drinks. Up top, you've got this little kind of mirror thing that you can look back and see what's going on in the back seat. You also have your lane keep assist and your forward collision alert buttons. You can disable those, and you can slide the top back here on the panoramic sunroof, and you can obviously tilt it and slide it if you want to as well. In the back, you also have rear sunshades. I think those are great. I think every like large family SUV needs to have sunshades because if you're trying to keep kids entertained in the back seat with iPads or things like that, being able to keep the sun glare off of it is just gonna make your life a lot easier. So we've talked about all kind of the specs and what you get here on the Touring trim. If you guys are interested in more of like a, you know, what's it like to drive kind of deal, I don't really like to talk through that kind of stuff because it's so subjective, right? And that's what I really struggle with is I want to be able to bring you guys, you know, accurate, informative information, but you know, it's hard with something like this because I've driven so many different types of cars. So for me to say, oh, it drives like this or it drives like that, that may just be my experience, right? So I'll say this, it has a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder, right? So it's fine, it's adequate for what you need. It's not going to provide any kind of thrilling driving experience. It's just not powerful enough. You know, it's a 4-cylinder. Even though it's turbocharged 2.4 liter, it's not a super aggressive kind of style, which is fine. I mean, this is a family SUV, right? So if you want to watch just a full, uninterrupted, me keeping my mouth shut and just driving this thing from kind of a POV with some binaural audio, which allows you to kind of hear everything in the car, hit that subscribe button because I will have a full POV test drive video coming shortly. It may already be out by the time you're watching this, so if it is, I'll have a card linked above. If not, hit that subscribe button and you'll be among the first to see it. So as far as rear seat space goes, you know, I'm about 6'1", so this is with the second row captain's chairs all the way back. You can see I probably have, I don't know, somewhere in the realm of 2 to 3, maybe 3 to 4 inches of knee room here between me and the front seat passengers. I can put my feet up underneath the seat, which is fine. It's fine. It's not, I mean, there's a lot of shoulder room, obviously, since this is the captain's chairs, and you've got armrests and things like that. Second row spacing's fine. It is what it is, you know what I mean? Another thing I've noted before, I actually made a goof video on this a couple years back when the Ascent first came out, but there are a ton of cup holders in this thing. You have 19 cup holders in this thing. You're never gonna fill 19 cup holders. I take that back. I don't have kids. You guys might be able to fill 19 cup holders, but I can't fit 19 things in this thing. But I mean, 19 cup holders, that's a lot of cup holders. So you're not gonna run out of storage space here for food, drinks, all kinds of things, phones, things like that. You won't run out of space. So let's hop back here into the third row. So you can pull this little bar here, slide the second row seats forward, go ahead and hop in, and we'll pull these seats back. And that is all the way back. And so, again, I'm 6'1", so you don't want these seats to be all the way back if you are 6 foot or above, because wow, you are squished. So with a little bit of adjusting, you can make this work, right? So I'm about 6'1". This middle seat is about halfway back. I've got not great legroom, but it's fine. I can tuck my feet underneath, get a little bit of extra. Really, the key is leaning these third row seats back, which you may or may not be able to do depending on if you've got stuff in the back seat or not. But if you were to not lean them back and you were to keep these second row or these third row seats all the way kind of in their forward default position, which is pretty upright like this, that is not comfortable. That is a very unpleasant ride for whoever's sitting here. So you definitely want to be able to lean these third row seats back a little bit to make it more comfortable. So once you get those back, it's not horrible. I mean, you're gonna be right next to this person, so you better like them, but it's not the worst. Again, you've got speakers here with that Harman Kardon premium audio system, a ton of cup holders. You got 5 cup holders back here alone, and then you've got 2 USB-A ports on that side, no USB ports on this side, but you could run a cord across and it'd be no big deal. All right, guys, and that is the 2021 Subaru Ascent. Drop a like on the video if you loved it. Tell me in the comments down below, what is your favorite feature on the Ascent? Do you like the panoramic sunroof? Do you like the front-facing camera, the rearview mirror camera? There's all kinds of awesome features on this vehicle. Let's have a conversation down in the comments, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to be among the first to see every single new Subaru video the second I hit publish. We'll see you in the next one.